Good day to you. This is Galactic bringing you another science presentation in cosmic geometry. At this current phase of development, I am producing a LaTeX document for publication. Part of my announcement sequence, just to introduce our topic today, is that I have determined over the past couple of weeks that the breadth of discoveries enabled by the geometry I discovered 3 years ago is so extensive and so comprehensive that I am constrained to make a difficult decision because I had intended to produce just one document. But now it will be at least 3, and very likely more in the future. This is an incredible discovery vector. It's up to consensual science to decide if it's useful enough to adopt. This is part of the scientific process, because I have started to get some attention at several levels. I'm shooting quite high. What you see on the screen is what you will get used to seeing because it's going to be enormously helpful. This is a video presentation platform, so it is important to utilize the resources available in this medium. I'm pouring sweat right now, as I have been for the past 100 days. This has been a bit difficult physiologically to get through, because this discovery sequence is not slowing down, it's accelerating, and I'm making discoveries daily now in the sense of progression towards solutions. That is my goal. That's quite rare. Most people don't think there are any solutions, and they simply want to be entertained. And that may sound denigratory, I don't intend it so, except relatively. We're really not concerned with entertainment because it's distracting. We get our entertainment, that is our jollies, our fun, our fulfillment, from solutions and from nothing else. Everything else is frustrating. We must have the solutions. That's the approach I take. So what you see on the screen today is the approach to the quantum. And the quantum has a whole lexicon now, and yet almost nobody can define the quantum. In fact, very few people even try. It's not easy to define what the quantum is unless you're extremely intelligent. It's a level of intelligence. I believe all people possess this intelligence, but the effectuality of that intelligence is dependent on environmental factors. And I won't go into the details of why most people don't have that capacity to be intelligent enough, for instance, to understand the quantum, or to understand the universe. These are the goals right now, is to understand the universe and to understand the quantum. So your level of intelligence is no higher or lower than anyone else's in that respect, because nobody has the answers. I do. And that's what I'm presenting. The absolute answers. And this is so far-reaching and so far-ranging that I have to be cautious about my emotional disposition and my presentation profile, because I could easily sound like Napoleon. In other words, nuts. Just nuts. The heat got to me. No, this has been going on for 3 years. So science does need to know about this according to the dictates of science. This is not my decision. I did not know that I was going to become a discoverer in several fields. So today I want to summarize quite quickly so I can get back to working on the LaTeX document. I need to summarize in some way for you what to expect in the future. I've produced 720 videos in 3 years. So that's about 2 every 3 days. You work out the math, I believe that's 2 every 3 days, so I am not idle by any means. In fact, quite the contrary, this is explosive. So let's go over the rudiments in order to give you the solid foundation of understanding. The whatever it is that I have in interesting notation with an upside down question mark, regular question mark, open and close, square bracket enclosure, whatever it is, that's the quantum. And that's the quantum anything. So that term, whatever it is, refers to the quantum paradox, quantum mechanics, quantum field theory, quantum electrodynamics, quantum chromodynamics, and quantum gravity. And there are about 24 other developed terms that have the word quantum in it, and yet I have yet to see anyone, anywhere, at any time, define what is meant by quantum. It's adjectival in its original use. Quantum is an adjective, it's not a noun. However, you can construct it as a noun, and of course it has been. There is a noun, the quantum, and there's no entry. That is the paradox. What is the quantum? Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea what it is. But until someone has some idea of what the quantum is, science is halted. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, when we're looking at cosmology, we're obviously looking out instead of in. The universe is so full of a number of things, I think we should all be as happy as kings. Yes, but in science we're not happy until we understand the dynamics. We have to be able to explain, that is, to describe and explain, to rationalize and make understandable what we see. Why are galaxies spiral? About 45% of all galaxies, large-scale galaxies. There are such things as satellitic galaxies, dwarf galaxies, even gnome galaxies. There's a whole nomenclature for tiny satellitic galaxies. We have quite a few satellitic galaxies around the Milky Way, and Andromeda has two prominent ones, which you may already know about if you're into galactic astronomy, which I strongly recommend. That's how I got into science. But in studying spherical rotation, I came upon a discovery through independent research of a new number system, which is an absolutely unacceptable thing to say, unless it's true. This is the rigorous, harsh, cruel deviser of rational logic. You can't just say that you discovered a new number system unless you can prove it. I spent a full year proving it, and it is definitely proved, and that's what I'm going to publish. But here in this sequence, which we'll close off before too many more minutes, I don't want this to be too long. Just going to go through this sequence. What does this number system represent? It represents spherical space, instead of grid space, instead of 3D and 4D space. 1D, 2, it's actually 0D, 1D, 2D, 3D, and 4D. These are useless, absolutely worthless for studying the universe or the quantum, because it's not linear. It's that simple. You're not looking at linear phenomena. We linearize everything. And you can take that one to the bank. You should hold on to that as a general orienting principle, that everything you see written about cosmology, from dark matter to the lambda term, it's all linearized. And nothing in the universe is linear. It's simple as that. Even distance, what we compute as straight line distance, that's an illusion based on misperception, based on our limitations as physiological organisms. We simply cannot see what we call time. We cannot see motion. We can measure motion after the fact, but Einstein proved that you cannot see motion. You also cannot see gravity. What is it that we do see? We see in. We see in towards the surface of the universe. The universe has an inner surface, and that's called the quantum. So, the value of the number system out the gate is that it parameterizes physical space to replace the grid system of the Greeks. Einstein used the grid system, so we have to overhaul space-time is completely incorrect. There's nothing correct about Albert Einstein's field equation for solving anything in universal space. It's a space travel guidance system based on calculus, which is illegal. Calculus is out the gate. I mean, it's out the back door. It's out the chute. Also, there's no such number as 0. Also, we only can use rational numbers in this universe to compute what we want to compute. About the quantum, everything you see written about quantum mechanics that looks baffling, the mathematics is fabulously complex. The reason it looks so daunting is because it's the incorrect number system for addressing the geometrical reality. I discovered the geometric reality of the quantum. All right, so that's going a long ways. That took 3 years to complete that circuit. I also have the rationalization of infinity, which for the first time gives us the opportunity to make valid computations on cosmic, that is, cosmological volume, to compute the universe itself. That has been so baffling that it's led to what I have characterized as scientific psychosis. Well, something similar exists at the quantum level, but the fundamental difference between looking in towards a center and looking out towards the edge is that you can see the center. It has a locality, and a proton actually has a position, but an electron does not, and a photon has an anti-position. So all of that is quite profound, and I don't expect you to accept those out the gate. That's not what a scientist does. But if you suspect that it might be true, you might want to listen. Well, that's why I make these presentations, but it was for practice, and my practice period is over. I'm going to Madison Square Gardens. I'm going to Albert Hall. I'm going to the universities, and I'm going right to the top, to the stage, to the podium, for 6 and 8 hour lectures covering weeks. That is my destiny. Now, I may not live that long. I'm going to be 70 years old in only 6 days. I'm quite happy to have 5 days. I'm quite happy to have made it thus far because I like life. But I don't expect to live forever. I don't think that's a reasonable expectation, at least not in this body. All right. So everyone's running out of time. You're running out of time much faster than I am. Science is running out of time. This world is running out of time. The universe is not running out of time. So let's go through this. The number system is a 2-component rational number system. It's basically 2 fractions with a reciprocal relationship, and that replaces the linear number system, getting rid of the nightmare of 0, and getting rid of the nightmare of linear infinity, and getting rid of the nightmare of the negative numbers. All of those are gone. And finally, to cap it off, to give us the icing on the cake, no more irrational numbers. They're not allowed in the universe. And I'll show you why. The basis of the linear number system is 0. The basis of the number system that I discovered is not the additive identity of 0. It's the multiplicative identity of 1. It turns out that every single top brain from before Euclid to after Einstein has absolutely missed their very first homework lesson. And so they're all delinquent and they've all failed. Not for technology, but technology is only for governments. Governments want technology. People get technology because governments demand it. And it's the governments that are in control of technology. No humans are in control of that. Only governments control technology. There are some exceptions, as you could probably guess. So the value of this new number system is that it replaces an erroneous, agonizing, terrifying system of ridiculous calculus and complex number systems with the rational replacement that eliminates every single mathematical problem plaguing science at the limits. This is the inner limit and the outer limit. These have names in geometric algebra, and if you haven't learned geometric algebra, you have to. And you will if you want to keep up. You will learn geometric algebra. for one reason, so that you can see how a sphere is really constructed using mathematics. Only geometric algebra can do that, and it does it on the most curious trick, which is called the inner product, outer product, geometric product relationship. You will study that and learn it, or you'll never advance to get any money that you might want. If you want success and to be rich and famous, you will study geometric algebra. And I guarantee that you'll succeed. You'll go right to the top, and you could be the next Einstein. And you'll also be a serious liability to real science, because linear algebra is dead. The linear number system is dead, and Euclid has been buried forever. No more straight line geometry is allowed. It's out of the question. It's caused all the problems. It's linear mathematics that causes the quantum paradox, in combination with sheer human stupidity. So I am quite a violent interruption in the carnival act, because I demand the answer. So I got it. That's what a scientist actually does. So let's start at the beginning. The spherical number system, which replaces all the errors in physics, is first of all the replacement of polarity. For reference, I refer you to 720 lectures that I've already produced. So if you don't know what I mean by any of these statements, it's your fault now. I can't go back any longer. I've spent 3 years reaching out to the scientific community. You will now be forced to catch up with me. The next item is the investment of orthogonality. This is the essential insight that changes physics forever. It changes mathematics forever, and it will change our educational system forever. Maybe in another addition to Walt Disney's Disneyland Park. Ortho Park. But that is true, and I demand to be heard. I will be heard. That's the dictate of science, not mine. I am not a demonstrative person. I am not an assertive person. But anybody can learn to be a top-notch UFC champion. All he needs is heart. It has nothing to do with the body. The UFC has nothing to do with choking anyone out. The UFC has to do with the domination of a superior mind over stupid minds. And that's why people hate scientists and hate mathematics. They hate mathematicians instinctively. You have every reason to hate mathematicians, including Edward Frankel. All right? So that's the way it is. I love Edward Frankel, but as a human. You have to stay human. Not in science, you don't. All right. The replacement of one-component numbers. The linear number system is a one-component number system. That is so asinine, so primitive, so prehistoric, that words can't describe how disgusted I am with our stupid educational system that never taught us the true basis of numbers and geometry. Idiots from the Greek Bronze Age. Next item, the investment of a two-proportional number system. That's a two-component, dual. Everything is two now. One is gone because zero is gone. One takes the place of zero, and two takes the place of one. It's that simple. That solves all the problems. The next item, the divestment of primitive calculus. Calculus is sin. The investment of synthetic calculus. The calculus has a definite reason to exist. It exists for exactly one derivative operation. After that, the calculus is absolutely illegal. The universe forbids calculus. Next item, the advancement of the first pass call of Newton. That goes with the next item. That may not make sense. Newton discovered a one-component force system, gravity. Now, he didn't discover it, and neither did Kepler. But beginning about with Copernicus, or you could go back to Archimedes, we're talking about a very primitive view of the universe based purely on gravity. That is so stupid and ignorant that words can't describe it. Because right after the idiot Newton died and the idiot Leibniz died, a genius was born, given from heaven. A man named Roger Joseph Bošković, who made a very simple correction to Newton's hyperbolic calculus, which it is. And Bošković was a man who knew that. He changed Newtonian mechanics into Boškovician mechanics. How did he do that for Sir Isaac and Herr Leibniz? He discovered what Newton should have known, which is the force dynamics, inclusive of gravity, must include anti-gravity. I discovered that. Next item. The validation of Alexander Unziker's list of correlations between cosmological science and quantum science. Alexander Unziker studies the fundamental constants of the universe. So does Laurie Gardner. Laurie Gardner and Alexander Unziker are at the top of my list of brilliant geniuses who are frustrated. Laurie is not so frustrated because her job requires that she understands these fundamental constants to do her work. She's a hands-on physicist. Unziker is not. Unziker is a research theoretical physicist who has done enormous research into Einstein, Dirac, Mach, a man named Dickey, whom you may not have heard of, and a list of other names, where he's uncovered the relationship between the fundamental constants, but he cannot put it together. He can see that it can be done, but he himself doesn't know how to do it. He'll never figure it out. The reason is he doesn't know my geometry. Once he and I get to talking, we might end up being the two most famous men in the history of science. Next item. To solve for the quantum space-time geometry, this would be the unified field. I've got that. I've got something much more powerful than the unified field solution. And the last item, we want to solve the collapse of the wave function. That's what all the top physicists would love to have, and none of them can do it. And that is the ultimate paradox. If you want to boil it down to one thing, if you can explain geometrically and mathematically and realistically, all three, and they all work together, the collapse of the wave function, you will be the most significant scientist of the 21st century. Well, you're looking at him. So, let's just check something else here. I have some more goodies all prepared for our upcoming series of 10-minute lectures where I'm going to boom, 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 go through the whole sequence. From the quantum to the universe. You will have all the answers for your children. For those who are stupid enough to listen to you until now, they will not be stupid to listen to you after this, because you'll be one of the only people on Earth who can answer scientific paradoxes. So what you're seeing there is a production from about 2 years ago, where I'm talking about the Dirac notation employed on the Bloch sphere. I fully understand this. No one else does. All right, so that's our production for today. That's 25 minutes, coming up on 26. Keep looking up and stay tuned. The document, once I'm done with the first of 3 or 4 professional documents, it will be posted to a Google Docs site so you can read it. It will also be posted to a site that I own, which you might want to write down. anagalactic.space. It's a secure site. I pay for this. https:// you don't need a www, anagalactic, that's ANA galactic, one word, .space. That's where my LaTeX document will be published prior to submittal to ArXiv, Vikra, and a list of others. This is going to go out broadband. I'm going to do a canvas, and I'm also going to start sticking my feet into some doors and causing some trouble to get attention. This will be the election season. I intend to disrupt with comments that cannot be overlooked or denied in various production series on YouTube, including Unziker's channel, Wheeler's channel. I'm going to use these men for my own purposes until they do something about me. And if YouTube kicks me out, that will be perfectly acceptable because I'll be done with YouTube by that time. My thanks to YouTube. I have nothing against YouTube. But I am going to be a troublemaker. I'm going to be worse than Hunter S. Thompson. But not until I publish, not until I do my job first. Because this is part of the scientific process. I have to publish. It doesn't make any difference if I'm a coward. It doesn't make any difference if I'm shy. It doesn't make any difference if I'm happy and content living alone at the age of 70. I can't. I took a vow before God in heaven to be a scientist. And I know what a scientist is. And most scientists don't. I know a hell of a lot of things that other people don't know, including the origin of the universe, which you'll never understand. You have to listen to me now. That's not my decision. That's the decision of the universe. If you argue with me, you're going down, honey. I'll crush you. So get on board and start paying attention and promoting my work, starting today. It's my birthday present. All right, that's all the posturing I can do. This is killing me. I don't care. All right, now you see I am a mad scientist. You have to be to get these answers. Because I'm up against a million dumb shits. We'll be right back.